It's not easy. There you get a look around the table. Richard Tan, he's going to be passing to Alexander Schwartz. He's going to be getting fed by Dylan Gellis. And then you see around the table, we're also going to bring you the draft of Max Mick playing in his third Grand Prix top 8. There you get a look at Richard Tan down there. And let's see what he has in store for us in this nice California weather. There you see a Gin of Wishes immediately kind of propped out of the pack, and nothing else really exciting in there.
Yeah, nothing is quite on the level of Gin of Wishes. This card is
see a
crazy
Volley
good.
Veteran, a Spark Tongue Dragon, cards he likes, an Avon Wind Mage. Just taking note, seeing what might come back, get a little bit of information, think about what your neighbors might end up moving into. But he's just going to take this Gin of Wishes. 4 power flyer, 5 mana, and then has the ability late in the game to maybe give you a little bit of extra excitement when you get to rub the lamp there.
I feel like the flavor on that card is spot on. It's like
I
perfectly
feel
designed.
like the third counter comes off, you should just get a copy of Gin of Wishes.
I think that would be great.
All right, here we go. He's looking at his next pack. You see he's moving pretty quickly here.
Yeah, and it looks like a Herald of Faith there.
Yeah, Herald of Faith. He likes these blue-white flyers. An Angel of Dawn up there near the top. He's looking at Shieldmare, maybe. Satyr Enchanter. He's got that uncomfortable chill, but I mean, this. Is it going to be? He's going to take Aviation Pioneer. So again, the guys back in Brooklyn said he's got a unique take on the format. We just saw him take Aviation Pioneer over Herald of Faith or Angel of Dawn.
Yeah, and I think maybe he just wants to stay on color right now. He doesn't want to dip in yet.
Yeah.
He has a certain power level that he's looking for in order to move in on another color, but he had an opportunity there to have 2 different 4 power flyers for 5 mana as his first 2 picks of the draft, and he turned it down in order to get this Aviation Pioneer, which I can tell you is one of the very best cards you can have against the more aggressive strategies in the format.
All right, so we see a Cavalry Drill Master, an Uncomfortable Chill, Lean and Vanguard, Explosive Apparatus, Crucible of Worlds. Not going to do a lot for you here in this format. There's a Plague Mare, and that's the card he said he seems to like the most.
Yeah, I think
always try to
Plague Mare is a nice one.
I always try to decide how people are like sort of factoring, signaling which card they like the most. He's got like a little smidge above the other cards. He also likes that Sky March Bloodletter now.
Yeah, Plague Mare, very high power level. Again, a card that, like Aviation Pioneer, really overperforms against the more aggressive strategies. What's nice, too, is if you have an Aviation Pioneer and a Plague Mare as 2 of your first 3 picks, and you are a blue-black deck, blue-black has a lot of card advantage tools, and you can construct a deck that's also very strong against your more controlling opponents.
Yeah, looking to give his opponents dreams of sickness and death.
There's an Arcane Encyclopedia here. It's a card I've been pretty impressed with in Sealed. In Draft, it's also fine if you don't have many other ways to produce a lot of card advantage. Avon Wind Mage, a great card.
Right, he like Sam Black has Disperse pretty high on his pick order. Takes Disperse over the 3-mana flyer.
Wow, that's very surprising to me. And I'm already very interested in his draft strategy.
Well, there's a Vampire Neonate. There's a Bog Stomper. There's a Totally Lost. There's an Oresco Swiftclaw if he wants to maybe switch into blue-white. Looks like he's got that Centaur Courser up there. And again, not really locked into anything at this point other than, he's got a few blue cards. He'd probably like to stay blue. Did you see which card he got there?
Yeah, he got the Vampire Neonate.
Oh, he did. Okay.
So now, 3 blue cards, 2 black cards.
So Snapping Drake, Diagraph Ghoul. All right, Skilled Animator, and that's a card you like a lot.
Yeah, it's a great card. It gives you a lot of synergy with the more inexpensive artifacts in the format. More of a blue-white card. I also like Snapping Drake a lot here. Ooh.
Oh, he went for a second copy of Disperse, and clearly a fan of the tempo approach to this draft format. Well, there's a Ravenous Harpy and an Angel of Dawn, and we've seemed to have come to what Paul Rizza likes to call an inflection point early on here in
Yes.
pack one, and he's like, all right, well, I'll look at these white cards, fine. I'll take the Angel of Dawn.
Just such a good, nice voice, you know?
Could have stayed black there on the Ravenous Harpy, but
an
I guess
on-color,
Angel
good
of,
uncommon.
but I guess Angel of Dawn a little bit more of a signal for him.
Yeah, it's definitely a more powerful card out of the two.
So Rustwing Falcon, a Stitcher's Supplier. There's a Wall of Mist, sometimes a card you might like in a flyer strategy, something that can go up the ground while you're swinging over. But he does go with the Rustwing Falcon. Says I got a little bit of catching up to do on these white cards.
In Rustwing Falcon, there's a card that we've seen seemingly go up in people's pick order list over the course of the weekend.
There we see red and green cards. There's a Knight of the Tusk in there. Colossal Majesty going around pretty late. There's also a Plummet, but he's going to take that. He's going to take that two-headed zombie.
Yeah, so leaving his options open a little bit here. He could end up in any combination of Esper or the full-blown Esper.
Wow, there's a Manolith. Satyr Enchanter, a card that we saw Mark Jacobson do some pretty disgusting things with. Uncomfortable Chill, a card that Richards paid attention to the first two times he saw one going around in this first pack, so seemed to be a card he had a lot of time for. And now he gets a Cavalry Drillmaster, which is a card you can really, with a lot of flyers, you can really take advantage of its enter the battlefield ability.
Absolutely. It lets also your smaller flyers bash into the larger ones, often producing a lot of damage. Just a very nice two-drop. It's pretty late to find a card like that.
Yeah, locks it in Linebreaker. Nice little roster filler. So thought he was going to be black, and it really came to that point here in pack one where he's like, okay, I could take this Ravenous Harpy, but I feel like this Angel of Dawn is a pretty big signal that white is maybe not as drafted as, I would normally think it would be. I think this card should have gone higher. I'm going to take that as a signal, and I'm going to jump in on this card.
For what it's worth, he did not get past a lot of powerful blue cards. That Aviation Pioneer is basically the only blue card that he was past that is, of a particular power level. Besides that, it was more, cards like Disperse.
And he definitely did
Stabbing
get
Drake,
past white
etc.
cards. We saw, remember, he got past a, he got past another five-drop flyer in pack two. He took that Disperse over it, though. Oh, he took the Aviation Pioneer over it, I should say.
And I like the pick of Aviation Pioneer over Angel of the Dawn in a lot of these blue-white decks, even if you're already playing white. I think one of the reasons why...
It was the Herald of Faith.
Oh, never mind. But on Aviation Pioneer, it combos very nicely with Angel of the Dawn, and blue and white also have a lot of really powerful 5-drops. So you can be sure that by the end of your draft, you're going to have a few cards on 5 that you're very happy to be playing. And you don't want to end up with a glut where you have, 6 5-drops and you don't have much to do in the early turns, and you end up getting run over by somebody who's just casting Viashino Pyromancers.
You see, by the way, Richard Tan had sort of sorted out that those 15 cards. He is not looking to have a Loxodon Linebreaker in his deck. He had it sort of off to the side from the cards that are sort of set in stone in his mind as being in there. He had that kind of pushed to the back. So clearly has a plan here, and that plan involves flyers and bounce spells.
I'm into it.
I'm sure he'd love to see a Luminous Bonds here. Maybe see an Aerial Engineer. Oh, wow, there's a Luminous Bonds. There was also...
And a Johnny's Last Stand, I saw.
Johnny's Last Stand. There's that Guardian Sentinel, Gargoyle Sentinel. There is an Aven Windmage in there as well. So what do you like more, Luminous Bonds or Johnny's Last Stand?
I think it depends on your deck. In his deck, I like the Luminous Bonds. A Johnny's Last Stand can be exceptionally powerful in a lot of different decks. It combos nicely with some things that allow you to sacrifice creatures, or if you're lucky enough to have a card like Cleansing Nova, it can set you up so that you choose not to sacrifice it when creatures die, and then the turn you cast the Cleansing Nova, you end up with a 4/4 flyer on the battlefield, and they have nothing. Also, just an incredibly strong card in its own right. You play it all the time when you're white.
So there's an Aven Wind Mage. There's Surge Mare, your, typical fish horse.
Yeah. Run of the mill.
Yeah, Cavalry Drill Master. And he is thinking about which of those he wants. He's got the 3, I think, top picks up near the front, and he's going to go with that Surge Mare. We talked about Wall of Mist earlier as being a card that could hold the ground while you then deploy flyers out afterwards. This fills that same role, but this can also do a little bit of work if you need it to.
Absolutely, and I've had Surge Mare against green-red decks, and I've put Knightly Valor on that card, and just gone to town, going through my decks super fast.
Wow, lots of green here in this pack. See an Inspired Charge, see a Novus Knight.
Yeah,
See a Dwindle, which is just a pretty good removal spell for a deck like this.
Yeah, I like the Dwindle a lot. I also would not hate Submerged Boneyard as the pick here.
He is going to go with the Dwindle. Pretty nice piece of artwork there. Is that a Thornhide Wolves getting put in the box with the mice? So there's a Mighty Leap, a Cancel, Explosive Apparatus.
And not much he's excited about. Explosive Apparatus, a card that, I'm not in love with it unless you have some degree of artifact synergy.
Which is not something that he has at the moment. Now, it looks like he is going to take the Mighty Leap. You see the flavor text referencing this set. It is, the block it's originally from, Amonkhet block. Or at least that this artwork is from. Mighty Leap, a card that's been around before. Wow. You were talking about artifact synergy. Does have that Aether Shield Artificer.
Yeah, and that's, if you have the cards to go with it, this is an incredibly powerful card. Not many powerful 4-drops, lots of filler 4-drops in this format.
Yeah, and this lets a Thopter token start swinging in for 3 in the air. Lets it swing through, potential blockers because it makes it indestructible. Also works with, the Gearsmith Guardian or even a Field Creeper. Becomes pretty formidable with that.
And both blue and white drying up completely from this direction.
Yeah, he's looking at taking an Anticipate here. Or possibly that Explosive Apparatus. He is going to take, and he's like, I'm going to just keep my eye on these black cards here, and I'll take this Epicure of Blood.
Yeah, and, he already has a Vampire Neonate, which combos nicely with this Epicure of Blood. It's also possible that...
Is it time to start thinking about Manolith?
I think it may be time to start thinking about Manolith. I think, when some of your wheels are falling off, you have to, learn how to
all right, two-headed
drive
zombie.
at the right angle.
Two-headed zombie is the play here. And we see a Cancel, a Rupture Spire, so another piece of mana fixing potentially. That Marauder's Axe, which, is really nice when you have evasive creatures. And that's what he's going to go with. That little 2-power bonus onto his flyers.
So I do not think he's considering playing 3 colors now.
You think he's going to be blue-black?
Yeah, he's been eschewing mana fixing for, cards at a number of different moments.
So there's a Frilled Sea Serpent and a Loxodon Linebreaker. There's also a Duress, which is a perfectly reasonable card to have in your sideboard here. But he is going to take the Linebreaker, so still keeping an eye on those white cards.
And at this point, he may end up being white-black.
Oh, interesting. There's a Cavalry Drill Master, pretty late. White seems to remain pretty open here at this table.
Yeah, I mean, by giving up the blue, he's essentially just giving up that Gin of Wishes, the Aviation Pioneer, and a pair of Disperses.
There's Abnormal Endurance, a card that we've seen do a lot of work on the weekend.
Yeah, an incredible pump spell that not only helps your creature win fights, but can also produce card advantage by using it alongside creatures that come into play abilities like Fell Spectre or Sky Scanner.
Yeah, it sort of also serves as kind of a counter spell against removal. See him take a Millstone there. You know, you never know. All right, just 2 lands left in that pack after he takes the Gearsmith Prodigy. Reliquary Tower, Over Mountain, and then one last card. It's a Walking Corpse. So we'll see Richard kind of fan through this, and let's get an idea of what this deck is looking like for him after 2 packs. See how he sorts this, see whether it's the blue or the black cards. You know, he's invested a number of early picks in those blue cards, including a second pick or third pick Disperse.
Mm-hmm. So he definitely values Disperse quite highly.
It looks like he's thinking just blue-white here. You know, has some black cards, maybe if he needs to, but suddenly the Loxodon Line Breakers, you know, cracking the starting rotation. Everyone breaks camp, and they're like, oh, we won't need this depth.
Yeah.
We have plenty of second basemen. But, you know, injuries. And he gets a little count on playables. Yeah, it's certainly
if you go back to the Mighty Leap, he's got 16 blue and white playables there. Some of them, you know, if you play the Uncomfortable Chill also, that's 17. That if he plays the second Line Breaker, that would be 18
now
playables
he's doing
just in blue-white.
Now what I think he's really doing here is a creature count.
Mm-hmm.
And he's saying how many playable creatures he has and how many playable... He has quite a few playable creatures or, you know, creatures you would play in black sort of lurking on the bench there. He's still considering it. And, you know, you could see him making a change based on whatever card he opens here. If he opens up a bomb in any sort of a piece of the Esper puzzle, we could very well see him go that way.
Absolutely.
What are you looking for? Call the shot.
Call the shot. I'm going to call Patient Rebuilding. Have I called that one yet?
I don't think so. Anyway, we might have called it watching Sam's draft.
Yeah. Oh, I may have been that he's so desperate for that type of card that I would settle for a Psychic Corrosion, so I called Psychic Corrosion. But Patient Rebuilding, I think, is just generally a nice one. I also think that it would serve him well to simply get another copy of a card like Luminous Bonds. He does not have a lot of good removal right now.
Yeah, no, I mean, instead of removal, he has tempo. Right?
That's true.
He has those verses. I think he would really love to see an Exclusion Mage here.
Yes, Exclusion Mage would be an excellent uncommon for what he's trying to do.
There's a Lich's Caress he's considering. There's that Militia Bugler. And so this is again, we're coming down to that point where he's just trying to decide whether he's complementing his blue with black or white. You know, Lich's Caress, obviously a much more powerful card than Militia Bugler. But so what's the debate here?
Well, he's not sure if he's going to be playing black. Militia Bugler also a really good 3, and his deck right now really, if he's not going to be playing some of the cards that he has there, he's going to need more of those 3s. In his deck, it finds cards like Aviation Pioneer. He has multiple copies of the Cavalry Drill Master. So you could just find something, then, you know, give the Vigilance creature a drill on the following turn and play offense and defense at the same time.
All right, well, there's another Angel of Dawn. There's a Murder. And now he's like,
Yeah,
pick.
Murder is far and away the best card in this pack.
You're always supposed to bet on black. Wesley Snape told us this.
But I think that he's not quite sure if he's playing black yet.
Yeah, so
or if he's playing blue, so he may go with this Angel here.
Yeah, I think he is going to go with the Angel. And someone's very happy to get a Lich's Caress and a Murder passed down the line here. And you can see he was very, very close to taking that Lich's Caress. He was really debating between that and the Militia Bugler, and went with the Bugler. And I mean, obviously, no way to know how that's going to play out for you. There's a Psychic Corrosion.
Yeah, I think he'll probably just end up taking this Vanguard here. Psychic Corrosion is a card we've seen people be interested in throughout this weekend.
Yeah, the thing that's really missing for him is that ability to draw a lot of cards.
Yeah.
You see a card like that, and you really want to be able to, you've talked about Cast Divination. Which one did he end up taking?
He took Psychic Corrosion.
He did take the Psychic Corrosion.
He did.
Okay. So he's got 2 pieces of mill equipment here to work with.
Yeah.
He does also have that millstone.
That is a pretty late Lich's Caress.
Wow.
That's also very late Volley Veteran.
Yeah, and there's a Gallant Cavalry in the pack.
This pack must have been super duper deep. Looking at the cards that remain, there are a number of cards here that I have picked first or second pick. Yeah.
Whew. Yeah, someone is getting shipped Lich's Caress, Murder, just alone in this pack. So some pretty good black removal. Wow, there's a Strangling Spores.
Yeah, Remorseful Cleric, a really nice one. A card that, for just 2 mana, almost always trades up and demands a removal spell.
Yep, Remorseful Cleric is the pick.
Its ability even, can come into the realm of relevance. Exile some Bone Dragons.
Huh.
Make your opponent's Macabre Waltz really bad.
Yeah, and it's just a 2/1 flyer. It's that Welkin Turn category of wow. That was a Psy down back there, but I don't think he has enough artifacts to really exploit that. The Master Thopterist.
Yeah, I mean, he may just take it as a 1/4.
Sure.
I could also see Totally Lost being the pick here.
Looks like he might have his eye on cancel. He's like, yeah, you know what? I just want to get out on the board, get my 2/1 flyer down, sit on a cancel, sit on a couple of disperses, and kill you, over the next few turns here with my flyers.
That's definitely something I've learned this weekend is that a lot of these players are valuing cancel a lot higher than I am.
So there we see the Sun Cleanser. He's going to take that. Again, another creature that's a cheap, good wall, especially if you're going to sort of turtle up behind those and get into the red zone with your flying creatures. There's a Totally Lost. There's another Inspired Charge.
There's also Meandering River.
Yeah, pretty reasonable, but goes with the charge. There we go, getting down to those last few cards. Not many fresh cards to look at, if any. Well, there's a Mirror Image. There's a Gearsmith Guardian. He's going to go with the Guardian here.
It turns on his Aether Shield Artificer, which, is one of his better playables that really doesn't have any targets right now.
And not really anything here. He's just going to eat a Fire Elemental. Just take it out of the pool. A card that's, I think, overperformed to its expectations this weekend.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. It's a card that I had not played with very much at all, or even seen people playing it against me much. And this weekend I've seen a lot of people using Pegasus Courser to take it to the skies.
Yeah, there's Explosive Apparatus for him. So just Active Treason or Smelt. What do you want to get out of the pool here? He's going to get that, so he's looking, he's saying, I got these 2 5/5s.
Yeah.
Let me get this Smelt out of here. There's a Trusty Pack Beast. There's a little bit of synergy with it in his deck. Can get back a Explosive Apparatus if need be.
or even a 5-5 late in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. So there you go. That's Richard Tan. He ends up in blue-white. We saw him take the Aviation Pioneer over Herald of Faith. Obviously, has a preference for the lower casting cost flyers, and we saw him pick a Disperse pretty early.
Very early.
So I'm prioritizing cancels. This is something we saw Sam Black do as well earlier. So I'm curious to see how that deck plays out for him. What's your assessment of the deck?
I think it was really hard for him because the draft itself was pulling him in different directions. A lot of the time when we draft, we open up a rare, and then the color of our rare is just open, and everything falls into place. That's not how it worked. So he really had to, make it work. He kind of has this pile of Esper cards. A lot of his cards are quite powerful, but he missed out on a lot of really good cards he could have had.
Let me ask you one question here. Now, he had this big moment where he could have taken a Lich's Caress or a Militia Bugler. Right? He was blue. He could be blue-white. He could be blue-black. He takes a Militia Bugler and then, sees two more removal spells, a Murder and another Lich's Caress, go by in rapid succession. Is he able to win a GP with this deck going through that sliding door as opposed to going through the sliding door where if he had taken those black cards?
I think his chances would have been better had he taken the black cards.
Yeah.
I think he's still very capable of winning the GP. His deck is playable and has a reasonable curve. He has 2s, he has 3s, he has 4s. He has access to late game card advantage. He can tempo people out. And I don't think he'll end up with one of the better decks at the table, but he has a deck that's very capable of winning a match against anybody.
Okay. All right. So that was Richard Tan's draft. We've got another draft coming up for you. We're going to see 3-time Grand Prix top 8 competitor Max Meck right after these messages.